Alright, Serie A match week 7. Our 22 game unbeaten record in the league is finally over. It had to come to an end at some point. And honestly, of all the ways it could have ended, this is probably one of the best, in my opinion. We played an actual good team. Like, it would have been shitty if this incredible streak had ended against like Spezia or somebody, right? Played a really good team. Dominated them from start to finish. They deserved absolutely nothing from the game without our best player, without the league MVP. And I will mention now, so I don't have to mention it later, they were also without Victor Osimhen, who's probably their best player. So I understand. So it was an even game, but we dominated them start to finish. We performed way, way, way better than I ever thought we could have without Leao. In honesty, like especially attacking wise, I knew we could hold it down defensively, and I knew we could control the midfield. That I had no trepidations about, because it's still Ben Nasser and Tonali in the midfield. So that I had no problem with. But to create the amount of chances we created, we hit the crossbar twice. Meret made a couple great saves. Credit to him. They had to defend. They had a lot of last-ditch defending moments. Just overall, we were on the front foot the entire game. We lost because Calabria, who was doing an incredible job. Incredible. Like, that first half was some of the best one-on-one defending, some of the best man marking you'll ever see against Kvaratskhelia. And I hope I said his name right. I think I did. He was defending him like hell. Ended up with a yellow card late in the first half, and I think that's when he had a muscle injury, which is ultimately why he had to be taken off. Earlier in the game, Bdair, who started over Kalulu, which was a controversial decision, I think it ended up not ultimately not mattering, because Bdair got the yellow card, and I think maybe that was part of the thinking. The fact that, okay, if Kalulu gets a yellow card, we have to bring Bdair on when the game is at full speed. Maybe that's what some of the thinking was. But Kalulu came on, and Kvaratskhelia actually got both Calabria and Bdair booked, who Bdair earlier in the game. And I think that did have a big impact on the game. Eventually, Dest comes on for Calabria after the injury, and he gives away the penalty. It was a correct penalty. It was a little soft, but it was a penalty, no doubt. He kicked his leg. And honestly, like, I can't even find the energy to blame Dest. Like, it's his Serie A debut, and he's going against one of the best wingers in the league. Like, at a certain point, what am I expecting of a dude to come in a league immediately and just stop one of the best wingers in the league? He has no chemistry with his teammates. He has no knowledge of the league. It was a shitty position to be put into. So I really can't blame him for that. Politano scores the penalty, which goes just under Manyan guesses right. It was just under his arm. That's unlucky. Then we continue to dominate. We score after De Ketelaere plays a great ball in for Theo in behind, who crosses it in. One of like several great crosses he put in the game. Finally, like, he had a lot of those same crosses that resulted in the goal, but in all those other instances, nobody could get on a touch on it. Finally, it goes straight to Giroud, left foot, bottom corner finish. Nothing Meret could do about it that time. Perfect goal. And then then just completely against the run of play. We're pushing. And Napoli get a goal through. Honestly, like, I know it's easy to everybody wants, when somebody concedes a goal, everybody wants to scapegoat somebody. Everybody wants to say this is to blame. I think with this specific goal, I just think offense is better than defense. Like, offense always has an advantage over defense, because offense is the one initiating the action. Like, they're the ones that actually know what they're about to do. Defense is only reacting. And I think that was just the case in this scenario. I don't think anybody actually made an egregious mistake. I'll actually just show you. Like, look, ultimately, I think in this goal, like, you'll see here. So, okay, Simeone has the ball, right? Simeone has the ball. And the only thing I can fault is the fact that here, 3 guys swarmed to him, right? Which is something we also saw in the Dinamo game when Orsic scored. 3 guys in that game, 3 players swarmed against Petkovic, right? But the problem is there's a lack of assertiveness, a lack of decisiveness in this action here, where it's like 3 guys come here, which means 2 players are no longer being marked, right? When that happens, I don't have a problem with the fact that they went to the ball. What I have a problem with is get the ball or foul him. Something has to happen, but he should not under any circumstance be allowed to turn and play this ball out to Mario Rui. That's the problem here, right? That's the only thing in this goal that I can fault. But I think people are we're trying to scapegoat Tomori in this situation, but I just don't think that's the case. Right here, Messias starts here, right? Okay? He runs out all the way here, and he actually jumps as high as he can, trying to block the cross. Fair enough. Can't fault the effort there, right? Here, Simeone comes from behind, right? Simeone comes from behind and makes the run from where he was here. At this point, Tomori was still guarding, marking this man here, and Teo hadn't come back into the frame. The problem here is that the ball was so perfect, it came to Simeone before Tomori could actually get into him, right? I think at a certain point, like I said, offense is just better than defense, right? At a certain point, you have to just respect that. We played a good team, and they had a player who could put in a ball as fantastic as that, and a player who could direct that header with such velocity all the way into the bottom corner. Like, at a certain point, you kind of have to respect that. And actually, this is something we saw 2 years ago maybe with Ibra and Koulibaly. Ibra scored a very similar goal against Napoli here in a game that we won 3-1. And it was, again, that wasn't a Koulibaly mistake, I think, as much as it's just it was a Teo cross and an Ibra header, and that's just sometimes you have to hold your hands up to individual brilliance. Ultimately, we were just not decisive enough in our chances. We hit the bar with Giroud earlier on from a beautiful Krunic ball, who played fantastic, by the way. Krunic was sensational, honestly. Krunic shoots it with his left foot. Meret makes a save and it goes off the post. And then later on in the game, Teo makes one of his marauding runs that we know all about. He plays a great ball to Giroud, who controls it right into Kalulu's path, one-on-one, open. He just hits the bar. Messias had a chance off a beautiful De Ketelaere pass. There was a Krunic header off a corner. There was just a lot of chances. I think we had 22 shots to their 9. I think we had way, way, way more significant chances. Ultimately, like I said, the main takeaway from this game is at no point did I, after the game, all I could say to myself, I was disappointed, of course, but all I could say to myself is there any part of me that thinks they're a better team than us? And the answer is no. There's not even the slightest doubt that we're way better than them. So, yes, we lost 3 points, valuable, but by the same token, this is match week 7. I would much rather it happen now, when there's 31 games left for Napoli to lose the momentum they had off of this game, and for us to gain back the momentum we had coming into this game. There's way more time. If this was match week 35, right? Then it's oh fuck, that's it. The title is theirs, right? The momentum, they're gonna ride through it. But that's not the case here. There's a hell of a lot of time to go. So ultimately, the way we fared without Leao, the way we played, it fills me with a lot of confidence that we'll just go and kick on and win a hell of a lot more games, honestly.